TRE.radio.
TRE in the afternoon. Presented by Hannah Murray.
Good afternoon. It's just gone 5:05 and you're listening to Women Talk. With me in the studio today, we have Katie Rowlands, Wenda James Rowe and Mary Carmen. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Hannah. Thank you all for coming in. And amazingly, you're sitting in the positions that I wrote your names in, which is lovely. I like it when that happens. If you're listening at home and you'd like to get involved, you're more than welcome to. Here's how.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95.
What a beautiful day, it's a wonderful life.
Okay, there was an article today. I know it's been discussed on a couple of shows this week, but I thought it was worth a mention. The chief executive of Kellogg's has been compared to Marie Antoinette after he suggested cash-strapped families should eat cereal for dinner to save money. Gary Pilnick, who is based in the US and earns more than £3 million a year, claimed it was a much more affordable option. Yes, I mean, do we think this is nice, caring advice, or slightly out of touch advice, or just a good kind of marketing ploy to promote his product?
I think that man is not really. But he doesn't give the money he earns to this.
No, exactly.
To these families.
Yes.
Instead of saying, eat some cereal and you will save money, okay? Give some money of yours.
Yeah, exactly. So people can buy a proper dinner.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he's trying to drive profits, personally. I think he's thought,
exactly.
This is a really good way, let's maximise it.
Exactly.
Which I wouldn't want cornflakes for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So.
No. Do you remember, I can't remember when it was it in the 90s where there was that Special K diet?
Yes.
Where you were encouraged to eat Special K, another like similar to cornflakes, for breakfast, lunch and dinner. It was called the Special K diet. I mean, it's not good.
Some members of my family used to have cereal twice a day for diet purposes.
Really?
About 3 or 4 years ago, I think it was doing the rounds in the magazines again.
Yeah.
Although sometimes I fancy breakfast for breakfast and dinner.
Really?
You could have,
I don't think I've ever done that.
You could have a cooked breakfast for breakfast, and then you could have a nice bowl of cereal for dinner.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's true. I've certainly had eggs for dinner before.
Yeah.
So that kind of works. But I don't think I've ever had cereal or porridge or something. I mean, mind you, I don't eat cereal for breakfast, so it's not even in the house. But yeah, I kind of get it, but more from I don't know.
Well, the cereal game in Spain is quite poor, so I think we'd struggle having it for breakfast and dinner. There's not a lot of choices there.
There's not a massive amount,
no.
Although so many cereals have a ridiculous amount of sugar in.
They do.
And I think they're marketed to be like healthy, especially for kids, a nice kind of healthy, easy breakfast. And then so many of them aren't healthy at all. They're laden with sugar.
I quite like crumpets for dinner, which is a bit like a breakfast item, isn't it?
Nice. I don't eat enough crumpets.
I got my friend to buy me 24 crumpets from Gibraltar and brought them over the border for me.
Crumpets are amazing. And do you have anything on them or just butter?
Sometimes peanut butter, sometimes Marmite, sometimes jam and butter.
Strawberry jam has got the ultimate with melted butter.
Yes.
Delicious.
Marmite. Interesting.
Really good.
I've never had a savoury... No, you're...
Marmite.
I totally get why people wouldn't like it. It's definitely a love-hate thing, but I really like it because it's quite kind of salty and umami. That's the flavour of Marmite. It's a kind of umami flavour.
Yeah. A little bit goes a long way with Marmite.
Yes. Have you ever tried Vegemite? Because that's the Australian alternative.
Maybe. Doesn't
It's not quite the
stand
same,
out.
though, I don't think, because it's not quite the same as Marmite. I think it's very unique, like you say.
Yeah,
Either love it or
absolutely.
hate it.
I remember when I was in Australia, which was only for a year, in my early 20s, trying Vegemite and thinking, well, it's not going to be as good as Marmite, and then actually really loving it. And I don't think I've had it since. It's kind of harder to pick up, so I kind of think, it's not as good. But I remember when I had it, I thought, it's actually really nice. I'd like to get some again and compare, have them both at the same time. This was something that made me smile. I thought this was really interesting. Nostalgia. So the idea of kind of looking back at our past, our childhood years, and saying, oh, wasn't everything wonderful, and everything was so much easier and nicer, and the sun was always shining, that kind of thing, which is very easy to do. This article says the bittersweet mixture of joy and sadness that infuses so many of our precious memories is one of the most powerful ways memory influences our everyday lives. When we look back at the past, we tend to focus on a specific period between the ages of 10 and 30. When people rattle off lists of favourite films, books, music, almost always things that they experienced in this period from 10 to 30. It gives us a sense of meaning, connecting us to an idealised sense of who we are. Although nostalgia can make us happy, it can also have the opposite effect. Researchers found that if people felt lonely, engaging in nostalgia left them feeling even more isolated and alone. In other words, the cost of nostalgia is that it can leave us feeling disconnected from our present lives, giving us a sense that things aren't as they were in the good old days. I kind of get that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go on, you.
And I think nostalgia is like very addictive. So the flavor of nostalgia is like it keeps you there. Like you spend the whole evening seeing through the window, like, oh, I miss my lost love and all that, and it's like, oh, it's a good flavor. So that's why I think you prefer to stay there than stay outside or in the present, maybe. Maybe.
I think sometimes it depends where you are in your current life as well. So for me, I'm going through a divorce at the moment, so I think sometimes then you can look back at memories in a different way to maybe when perhaps you were a child and looking at all the good stuff. So for me, the last couple of years, it's been more stirring up sort of, maybe things that are a little bit more emotional and perhaps a little bit more negative.
Yeah.
So I think, sometimes it depends on where you are in life at that moment.
Absolutely. I mean, the point is we can't go backwards, can we? That's the point. So if you get stuck into, that was so good at that time, whether we lived someone else, whether you're with someone else, whatever, kind of, there's nothing you can do about it. All you can end up feeling, if you're able to go, oh, that was great, wasn't it? And then move on and think about something else and crack on with what you're doing, fine. But if you are kind of dwelling in the past, you can only end up feeling upset or angry or frustrated, because you can't go back, you can't change it. All you can do is learn from it or just remember it with fondness, but then carry on with what you're doing. If you kind of really sit in it, then it's not great, is it?
I think the article's right in the sense that when you're looking back, you are going to feel a mix of negative and positive, but you can't completely live your whole life in the present, I don't think. I've got lots of journals from the last 5 years, and sometimes when I open them, I have a wave of feeling from 3 years ago, and it is quite interesting to relive that particular feeling, whether that be negative or positive. And they do also say that if you're living in the past too much, that's sort of depression, and if you're focusing on the future, that's anxiety. So I suppose dabbling in the past and in the future is good, but maybe not being in it for too long.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it can be nice looking back, or as you say, if it's a sad thing, looking back on, it's good to do, but for short periods of time.
I think if you're looking back on a sad thing, you can think, well, look how far I've come, and look how far I would now react to that if I was presented with those problems again. You can sort of think about, I felt really sad and really helpless there, but now if I had that same situation again, hopefully I'd be able to react to it differently, because we're all older and wiser every year.
Allegedly. Yeah, I mean, looking back, I get when loved ones die and move on, when you look back on times you've had together, obviously all you have is memories, so they're really, really precious and important. But at the same time, again, if you sit in them for too long, you're just really sad, because again, you can't go back, you can't change things. So it's really, really important to have these memories and to remember and all the good times that we shared and things like that. But then you have to be able to go, okay, but now it's today and we're doing this and whatever.
And
a healthy balance. balance.
Of course it is. It's all about balance.
And that sums up the whole show. I think we could leave it there, couldn't we? That's life in general. This I thought was unbelievable. The headline reads, "Turn up for an interview, we just couldn't be bothered," say 93% of 18 to 24-year-olds. Ghosting is a well-known irritation of the dating game, but now young people are blanking firms who offer them interviews and even jobs. An incredible 93% of Generation Z job applicants say they had simply not turned up for an interview. Almost 9 out of 10 say they hadn't shown up for their first day at work, and almost a quarter say they had walked out of a job without giving notice. So come on then, fess up.
Wow.
Have we ever done any of those things? Doesn't matter if we have.
I don't think we're going to fess up live on air.
Okay, fair enough.
Although I do think the ghosting thing does happen in all areas of life now. One of my older relatives, they work in the travel business, and they're shocked when people ghost them. So there's a conversation about organising a travel trip, and they often get ghosted.
Wow.
And I think that happens because of the internet. People think we can throw away people and don't worry about it. But I think certain generations perhaps get quite upset about it, and it really affects them. But I've grown up with that since I was in my teens, so it doesn't really bother me so much because it's happened throughout my life in romantic situations and lots of different situations.
It's interesting, isn't it? I suppose the reason why somebody would ghost someone, whether it's in a romantic setting or for a job, or if they are in the process of booking a holiday and then they change their mind for whatever reason, I guess there's a slight embarrassment, maybe.
Yes.
Not, if you were booking a holiday and you got quite far with the travel agent, and then you think, I don't know if we can afford this, or you decide to go with someone else. Maybe they're embarrassed to say thank you so much for your time, but we're actually not going to do this now, and they just think, just ignore them. I mean, I guess that's what ghosting is.
That's more embarrassing.
Yeah,
isn't
absolutely.
it?
It's
not
still not nice.
Giving the last word and explaining what happened is more embarrassing than saying the truth, I think.
Yeah.
And I think often in a romantic situation, people ghost you because they want to keep you at the end of their fingertips just in case they want you. So they don't want to quite admit that they probably don't want you. They want to keep you just there, just in case.
Just in case they're really bored and they think, okay. Yeah. Isn't that horrible, though?
It is horrible, but I suppose it's modern day, and I suppose the more you experience it, you realise you don't need those kind of people in your life, and you can cut them out, whether that's in a business or romantic setting.
You do wonder though why this generation feels it's okay to act like this, whereas my generation, because I'm much in my 50s, we would never have probably acted like that, so you just wonder what the driving behind it is for them to actually not have a conscience and think that it's okay to do this, and it's just a fascinating area.
Wow.
Life is flippant. I think you can just throw away things. I think my mum's generation, if you wanted to take that generation out when they were young teenagers, you'd have to go up and knock on the door and ring the doorbell. But these days, you send a quick text. You can ignore that. I forget them.
Read it.
There was a lot bigger consequences in older generations than there is in the modern generation in terms of if you didn't follow through with things.
Yeah, I mean, with messages, I guess I would never not reply to someone, whatever it was to do. I mean, if it was a weirdo online that was being inappropriate, I wouldn't feel the need to reply. But if it was somebody I know, and they had replied, if you're busy, you reply as and when you can. But I'd never think, I'm not going to reply to that person ever. I mean, because I'd find that rude if somebody didn't reply to me that I knew.
Well, I don't know if you have. According with the confidence, I think you have with the person you're talking to, because I have some friends that. My friend Paula, for example, is like my sister, and when we say goodbye, it's not okay, goodbye, un beso, goodbye, un beso. No, it's like, okay, talk to you, okay. And then we just stop talking because we know that we are going to talk in future.
Yeah.
But if it is with someone that I'm not used to talk, it's like, okay, goodbye. And I'm saying you goodbye, so you can say goodbye and it's finished, the conversation is finished. But if you have the confidence, it's like, I will see you, bye. You know what I mean?
I always think it's funny when watching, whether it's films or TV dramas, how often characters are speaking to each other on the phone and they don't say bye.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? I've always noticed that. They're chatting and then the next minute and it's not because they're having an argument and putting the phone down. They just have a chat and then they just kind of casually put the phone down. And I'm always going, they didn't say bye. And when I'm speaking to someone on the phone, whoever it is, there's always a moment where you go, okay, talk to you later, bye, or whatever.
He's very
goodbye, always.
Dramatic tension for the movie.
That's not a generational thing, is it? No. It's normal to say bye.
Yeah.
Weird TV stuff. Okay, we better take a break.
Talk Radio Europe.
Saving on your insurance is quick with Linea Directa.
When you say quick, how quick?
In a jiffy, my dear.
What, like at warp speed?
Before you can say Jack Robinson.
Oh, grease lightning.
Talking of which, how's that Morris Minor of yours?
Switch and save on your insurance with Linea Directa. Maybe that's why 9 out of 10 satisfied customers recommend us. Call 919-181-130. That's 919-181-130 and get the best price for car, bike and home insurance. Conditions apply.
Moving in, starting a family, just need a change. We bring life to all your projects thanks to our unique expertise. This is Home Design by Schmidt. And in October at Schmidt, you can get 20% discount off your kitchen furniture. See conditions and details in store and online at homedesign.schmidt. Home Schmidt Home. TRE.radio. Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Women Talk with me in the studio today, Katie Rowlands, Wenda James Rowe and Mary Carman. There's an article here about winning the lottery. Always a fun thing to talk about because it's going to happen to us all at some point. So when we win the lottery, this guy who won £22 million, he said the only way to keep your sanity is not to give up your job. He said that when he won the lottery, lots of kind of friends and family came out of the woodwork and he was getting congratulated all the time and people were just blatantly asking him for money. People, oh, congratulations for winning, that's brilliant, you know, I could really do with a couple of grand, or, you know, I'm in debt and all this kind of thing. And he was really shocked and found it really difficult. Because and yet you just can't imagine, can you? Because people's opinions, obviously, of someone winning 22 million, they must think, well, what's a couple of grand to them? Because a couple of grand to someone who's got 22 million probably isn't going to be that much and isn't going to make a significant difference. But if they're handing out a couple of grand to everyone who knocks on their door, I mean, that's going to go. So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about generally how you would feel about winning that kind of money and how much you'd change your life or not.
It's too much money, I think. 22 million is too much money.
Okay.
I think I couldn't handle that much money. Where do you save all that money? In Switzerland, for example.
Yeah, it's a big question.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. It's not the same that having maybe $1 million or maybe 5 million, but 22 million. Wow, I don't know. And then you are. Then the mafia is looking for you and they want to kidnap you and then the people is asking you money. I think being poor is easier, really, not that responsibility.
or 5 million.
Yeah, 5 million.
That would be nice.
I agree with you on that one, because I think there's so many stories in the media where people's lives have been absolutely wrecked because they've been bombarded with begging letters. They can't quite handle mentally the life change because they can just go and buy anything they want to, then the interest on the money is overwhelming, and then they've got all these people giving them their ideas of where they should invest. For me, I think I'd probably keep a little bit and give it away. I think I'd have lots of pleasure in doing that. I think there's good and bad to it, but I think it's one of those things where your life would never be the same, and I think mentally some people can cope, other people just can't. And I think if you've got begging letters coming through your door every day, it's like, how do you cope with that?
It would be really hard, wouldn't it? It really would.
And do you have to go public with that kind of information, or can you keep it private?
I think you can. I think there are options. I don't think you have to go public. I think it's kind of encouraged to go public, but you don't have to. And I think it's
quite a lot of money to go public with. I think if you kept it private, you could almost forget you had that much money and then keep your sanity a little bit. But I think we've talked about before, I think it's important to have some sort of purpose throughout your life.
Yeah, I agree.
Up until a certain point when you don't feel the energy anymore.
No, it's true. And that's the thing, you know, if people win whatever job they have, if they quit their job and just think, oh, I never need to work again, which you know, you may not if you have that kind of money. What is the rest of your life about? You know, at what point going out for lunch every day with your mates, playing golf every day, going on holiday from one to the other? I mean, it sounds amazing, obviously, but would you want to do it for 40 years? 30 years? I don't know. I don't think so. No. Even when I very rarely have 2 weeks holiday. I normally would just have a week. But when I've been off for a couple of weeks on the odd occasion, by the end of the few weeks, I'm like desperate to be back to work. I'm thinking, well, I've spent a bit of money on my time off, you know, and I've seen my friends and I've had a lovely time, but I feel like I need that purpose,
that balance in the day.
Yeah,
I'm like that because I have up to 9 weeks consecutively off.
Yes, being a teacher.
Yes, and I've learned that I'm not very good with little structure or too much structure. My best kind of day has got a medium structure in it.
Okay,
so if I can try and create structure in my holidays, it's better, or create some sort of side hustle or purpose I'm working on. I don't think I'm the average person. I think most people do just enjoy their holidays.
Yeah.
But I sometimes feel this pressure, what am I doing next?
It's funny, I think I'm a mixture of the two.
Yeah.
Because if I've got lots of things in the diary, then, you know, suddenly I'm halfway through the week and I think I haven't just had a day where I've got up when I wanted and just kind of thought, what should I do today? And gone for a walk, wandered into a couple of shops, bumped into a friend, shall we have a coffee? And those are nice days. And if I'm coming to the end of my holiday and I haven't had one of those days, I think, I've put too much in the diary again, which is too easy to do. Fill your holiday with all the plans. Definitely. But then at the same time, if you do the opposite and you don't make plans and you're coming to the end of your holiday, you think, I've wasted my holiday and I haven't seen all my friends.
I think it's a fine balance. I think some people would be fine with no plans or too many plans, but other people need to have a fine balance, otherwise it throws them off emotionally, perhaps.
I feel guilty because when I'm on holiday, I just want to paint and play video games and see anyone.
I don't feel guilty. That's lovely.
I'm being with my cats. That's the only thing I want to do.
That sounds lovely.
Definitely. I mean, that's the point. A holiday is for you to do whatever you want. And it doesn't matter whether that's, you know, going for a 10k run every day or staying in bed watching telly or painting, playing with your pets, going out with your kids. I mean, whatever.
That's what the holidays are for, I think.
It's personality dependent, isn't it? Depending on your age as well.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, this is an interesting one. Spiked drinks. Broadcaster Kate McCann has revealed she woke up on her bathroom floor at 4 a.m. after her drink was spiked by a brazen group of men. The men acted in plain sight and didn't care who saw it happen. She said she was out with some friends and someone said, hey, someone's just put something in your drink. And she had to be really careful with that. Funnily enough, I was with some friends last night and we were talking about that. We were having there was 3 of us and we were having a bit of a dance, and there were some men that were kind of circling and our drinks were on the side, and the guys had obviously had a bit to drink and they were a bit kind of friendly, and I moved our drinks so they were right in front of me, and I actually ended up turning my back on the dance floor and I was dancing at my drinks. So I could literally keep an eye on them because I'm so aware of how easy this kind of thing is, especially if you've got some guys that are kind of new going, hey, where are you from, and trying to chat to you. You just never know. It's horrible to think like that, but you do have to be careful.
It's scary times, isn't it? I think the culture we live in now, it's happening all the time, and I think I'm too trusting of people, you know. I'm like, if I have a glass of wine in my hand and I put it down, I don't really think about somebody spiking it, but I've heard so many stories now of my friends being spiked, and you think, my God, this is really serious stuff. So I think you've got to be really careful. But yeah, you're a good mate to have.
I'm as careful with my drinks as I am with my handbag.
Yes.
Again, with your handbag, when you're out with your friends and you're having a dance, you know, I wouldn't leave my handbag and then disappear onto the dance floor. If I'm out, generally I'll have a small handbag that goes over the body, so I'll have that on me all the time. Or if I'm leaving my handbag, I'm leaving it with other people, and I'm saying, if you're going to move, please bring me my handbag. Otherwise, are you sure this is okay with you? Making sure that someone's looking after it. I wouldn't just leave it.
I think the ideal situation is that you have at least one responsible person like yourself. And they can be the protector of the group.
I've never been referred to as the responsible adult.
Well, just from your description of yourself, perhaps you're not. I've left my bag places before, relatively recently, and people have come up to me saying, "You've left your bag over there." Yeah. I just relied on the protection of people around me. I said, "Oh, thank you. No one's going to steal it. I've got a really cheap phone. They do me a favour if they steal my phone."
Oh no, that's funny. Oh, it's the hassle of it all, though.
I got told off by older and slightly more responsible people. I am very responsible most of the time.
Just not with your things.
Well, depends what night it is.
Yes, exactly.
But I like the drinking culture of Spain because it's a lot more sensible, and you go out, you just have one or two drinks and you're all happy and cheery, and you're not out to get absolutely wasted. And I think the British drinking culture can be quite terrible sometimes. You're setting yourself up for a disaster if every single one of you in the group is really not feeling great.
Yeah, it's true. It is different. Are you? How do you feel, Mary, as a Spanish person, about the drinking culture in Spain? Have you noticed kind of what it's like in terms of going out with friends? Do people tend to have a few drinks? Or
yeah, well, there is a long time now I don't go out for drinking, but normally it's very nice. We just have a couple of beers and then go home. At least the friends I go out with. I was just remembering one anecdote I had lots of years ago when the Middle Earth was with Frodo and Sam, and I was in a discoteca dancing. This was when I was 15. And two guys, they must be about 30 at that time. They both had a drink, and they both, to me and my friend Paula, they put their glasses to my mouth, like, drink.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, and I said, "Are you stupid?" And the man said, no, come on, drink this. And I said, "No, I'm not drinking." And I took my friend, because my friend is 2 years younger than me, so I took her out, but the man wanted us to drink from their glass.
Wow.
And I said, "Are you stupid?" Really? I said, what are you trying to say? Just try to hide it, at least. Exactly. My face or something.
Gosh.
Oh, people are crazy.
Yeah.
But that's funny as well.
But again, you just wonder if in that situation, if you and your friend were really drunk, you might have thought, "Oh, thank you very much," you know.
It's very dangerous.
It's really scary, isn't it? It really is. Yeah, I've noticed that actually. It's really interesting, the kind of going out just for a couple. And in the UK, the culture really is, when you're getting together with your friends, to go out and have a ridiculous amount to drink in order to get drunk. You know,
it's really
that's like the premise of the night. It's not good at all. Really not. Yeah, well done, Spain. We love Spain.
Yes.
We better take another break.
Talk Radio Europe.
Hi there. How are you doing? No, really, I want to know how you're honestly feeling. Feelings are so important, but sometimes we simply ignore them. That is, until we can't pretend anymore. Please note, you do not have to suffer in silence. If you are feeling desperate, anxious, or alone, Samaritans in Spain are just a free phone call away on 900 525 100. Between 10 a.m. and 10 p.m, one of our trained listeners will be waiting to take your call in complete confidence. You do not need to be feeling suicidal. If you just want to talk to someone, then call 900 525 100. Together, we are stronger.
Sales at Mikoljon. Now with our exclusive Nessun brand, discounts of up to €350 on the purchase of your mattress, sofa or armchair. Enjoy the healthiest rest and comfort at the best price. We carry the best brands, including Stressless, Tempur, Emma, Flex and Relax. Don't miss out on our sales before closing. Nessun, the brand recommended by your mattressologists. Only at Mikoljon stores and mikoljon.com.
TRE. Talk Radio Europe.
Hannah Murray. TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You are listening to Women Talk with me in the studio today, Katie Rowlands, Wenda James Rowe and Mary Carmen. There is an article here with a couple of photos of the actress Anya Taylor-Joy, 27-year-old British-Spanish actress who is in the film June Part 2, which Richard Fitzwilliams was just reviewing. She went to the... went to the premiere wearing a corset underneath a sheer black dress. You could kind of see the corset, but she also posted a picture onto her social media of her basically covering her boobs whilst wearing the corset, and it really is like just round her waist, this corset, and it takes her waist in unbelievably. She looks absolutely tiny, and basically people have really gone for her online. One of her followers said, "What a terrible thing to do to yourself or share with others as an influencer." Somebody else said, "You are going to kill people with this sort of beauty promotion. Please stop. That photo of your teeny tiny unrealistic waist is going to hurt children who don't have the maturity to understand how unrealistic beauty standards are." Other people defended her and said she had the right to wear anything she likes. What do we think? Everybody does have the right to wear anything they like, first of all. Of course, we all know that. But I don't know, how responsible should famous people, actresses, influencers be?
I don't think that picture's too extreme. I don't know. I'm exposed to a lot worse images than that. And in real life, sometimes when I go to a gym in San Pedro, for example, the beauty standard there is very extreme and not the norm. So I don't know. I think sometimes people do have very naturally slim waists, and sometimes women are persecuted for wearing different things, whether that be good or bad. So I think it's a bit challenging, really, because I don't think the image is that extreme if you've got a naturally small waist.
Yeah.
I think you can look at this both ways, really. I think the waist is actually phasing out over the last 20 to 30 years, so women haven't got the waist that they used to. If you think about Marilyn Monroe and other sort of iconic 50s actresses. So I think this can put a lot of pressure on people to think, God, my waist's not like that, or my waist is nothing like that, or I haven't got a waist, So I think it does put pressure on, and I think influencers or famous people have got to have a think about what their message is and how it can influence people in a massive way, because a lot of them we do look up to and we do get influenced by. But if you look at the history of fashion, that's what they used to do.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and nobody blinked then. We were used to seeing women with waists, so you can look at it in lots of different ways, but I think you have to think about how you can influence your audience.
Yeah, definitely. It's a tough one, isn't it? I think with the... I know what you mean about saying that it's not that bad. It just depends on how impressionable the people are looking at your pictures, and I just kind of think you need to be aware that there'll be plenty of women that will look at that and I think she looks ridiculous, to be honest. I think that waist is unbelievably tiny, and looks unnatural. She's obviously slim everywhere anyway, but it makes her look kind of big everywhere because the waist is so tiny, so it just completely out of proportion. I think it looks like an odd shape.
I suppose looking at that with an adult brain, I think, well, my waist would never look like that because I'm more straight up and down, more of a sporty figure, so that doesn't affect me. But I suppose with a younger person it perhaps could if they're a bit more vulnerable.
Yeah, for sure. We've had message from Gary. He says photos like that degrade women insofar that young girls will copy that and end up with health issues, mental and physical. Women should help women in this case. Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely. Yeah, the thing is with any famous women, let's say, or influencers, people who are posting a lot online, people who follow them are going to look at their images and have a reaction. You know, you're following that person for a reason, whether it's because you just like them, or whether you like their fashion, or you like what they do with their hair or their makeup or whatever. And whether we like it or not, we are influenced by the images that we see. So yeah, I think people should be.
I suppose there's always going to be extreme images out there accessible. There'll be more extreme and less extreme to that. So if you stop one person posting that, or put a rule on models, for example, posting that, there'll be someone who's not a model who will go even more extreme than that.
Yeah, so I don't think you can stop people.
No, I think you've got to teach the younger generation just to be able to filter what's right and what's wrong, really.
Yeah.
And I think if you grow up with it, you kind of get used to the fact that it's not real life. I think sometimes it's more shocking to older people because they haven't perhaps been brought up with that since they were younger.
I mean, on the same kind of thing, you know, us looking at that picture and say, well, my waist would never look like that. You can also say women who are posting who have got boobs, you know, who are wearing dresses or bikinis that show off their shapely breasts. There'll be lots of women who don't have much up top who are saying, oh, I wish I had boobs like that. And you know, that's kind of the world, isn't it? You know, where you look at someone with a shapely bottom and think, oh, I wish I had a bigger bum or a smaller bum or whatever. You know, we're always looking at images of other women and comparing ourselves, and we shouldn't do that so much. We should just appreciate what we've got and say, oh, they're very beautiful, they look great, but so do I. We need to be more like that. Okay, before we talk about relationships, let's move on to our last ad break.
You're listening to Talk Radio Europe.
Being an author can be frustrating.
There is a part of me which thinks, oh my goodness, it took me a whole year to produce that and they read it in one day.
It takes a lot of time and effort to create a gripping story.
Reviewers simply say, oh, the Francis books, they're just easy reading. But let me tell you, I work very hard to make them easy reading.
There are still no guarantees it'll do well, of course.
I have a foundation of being good at what I do, but dear God, everything hinges on luck.
Join me, Hannah Murray, on The Book Show to hear more authors talking about their journey. Thursdays from 7 p.m, repeated on Saturdays from 8 p.m, here on Talk Radio Europe.
Have you enjoyed the process of writing this book?
Been a bit of a nightmare, to be honest.
Saving on your insurance is easy with Linea Directa.
Easy? How easy?
Well, it's like riding a bike.
Oh, you mean like falling off a log?
Piece of cake.
Ah, easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Talking of which, have you got any of that cheesecake left? Switch and save on your insurance with Linea Directa. Maybe that's why 9 out of 10 satisfied customers recommend us. Call 919-181-130, that's 919-181-130, and get the best price for car, bike and home insurance. Conditions apply.
Focusing on the big picture. At Blevins Franks, our financial advisors take a holistic approach. We get to know our clients, your family situation and objectives, and our integrated advice covers tax and estate planning, savings and investments, and pensions. We aim to consolidate many of your assets, keeping things simple for you and your family and heirs. Get in touch with your local Blevins Franks advisors today. Visit blevinsfranks.com. That's blevinsfranks.com. TRE. Hannah Murray. TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's just coming up to 5:45. You're listening to Women Talk with me in the studio today, Katie Rowlands, Wenda James Rowe and Mary Carman. As we're talking about women's things, it's coming up to International Women's Day, which is a week tomorrow, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
The 8th. And Wendy, you've got an event happening, which sounds great.
Yeah, very excited that we've got an International Women's Day event to celebrate us fabulous creatures.
Yes.
At the Hard Rock Hotel, just outside Portobellouse, and it's going to be an evening from 6:30 onwards to celebrate women, to network, make new friendships. I'm quite new in Marbella, so always looking to make new connections. And we're going to be having some fantastic speakers, showcasing some businesses, and then it's party time. We've got some female DJs, and we're just going to have a great night. So yeah,
lovely.
8th of March, and it's complimentary. So you just need to potentially get on the guest list, but if you wanted to come along on the night, that would be absolutely fine as well. So
great. So should people get in touch with you to say they want to come?
Yeah,
is that the best way?
Yeah, is that how?
That's fine.
How would they find me? Is that okay to say that?
Yeah, of course.
So we're connecting with 2 businesses. Soul Sisters is my business, and we've got 2 other amazing girls who are Soul Sisters Marbella. And we've come together basically because of our names. We're Soul Sisters. So we're promoting the empowerment side, so you can get in touch with us on Instagram.
Perfect.
Soul Sisters Marbella, drop us a message there, and we're Soul Sisters as well. So yeah, look forward to hearing from you.
Fabulous, that would be great. It is the 29th of February, and Katie just reminded me in the break there, it is the day when women are supposed to propose to men. Have you heard of this, Mary? I'm assuming this isn't a thing in Spanish at all.
Oh wow, no.
Yeah, so when it's a leap year, so with February just 29 days, so that's every 4 years, isn't it? It happens. This is the day that women are kind of not encouraged, but it's a day that women sort of Is it encouraged? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's deemed to be okay that women propose to men.
Mary?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
So here's the question: would you ever?
Not sure.
I'm old-fashioned. I wouldn't. I think it's a man's job. I'd leave plenty of sort of little
hints.
Yeah, hints. That's the word. Little hints around, but no, it's not something I would do.
No, I don't think I would either.
I've been thinking a lot about masculine and feminine energy recently, and I feel like I really like sort of aggressive sports, and I can be quite domineering in some situations. So I think in a dating environment, I'd prefer them to propose to me.
Okay.
If and when I ever get to that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Mary, is it something you would do?
Wow, it's a good question because I have been thinking in proposing to my... Not marrying, but just to make the papers in the town hall, you see?
Yeah.
So I think today is the day, and maybe tonight I ask you. That's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
There you go.
Yeah. 29th of February. Año bisiesto. In Spanish is bisiesto.
Bisiesto.
Bisiesto, yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you for letting me know.
Or you can wait 4 years if you want to.
Yeah.
If you're not ready tonight. This I thought was really interesting, and interested to hear your thoughts. Half of Britons have financial regrets, a survey has revealed, including some who wish they had married a spouse with more money. 29% desired a better paid job or career themselves, so more women, instead of wishing that they had made more money, they wish that they had married a man who had made more money. I think that's horrendous, quite honestly, but that's just my opinion.
I don't understand that, because if you get married to a man that has a lot of money, do you think you are getting all the money from him? No, you have to ask him the money, and is he going to give to you? I don't understand that very much.
No, well, that can be a problem. That absolutely can be a problem, and sometimes men with money have the power that comes with it, and there's a weird dynamic because they're the ones with the money and the power, and the woman needs them and needs their money, and it can cause problems. But for other situations, the man might be very generous, and the woman knows that she's looked after and taken care of. So I've had not many actually, but a few friends in the past who have been very open and honest about wanting to find a rich man to marry. That was like their main criteria.
Really?
Yeah, and they were quite open about that. That's never been a criteria for me. But
my friends haven't really admitted that. Generally, my friends who've married or settled down are married for someone who's very good looking, or perhaps they're very adventurous and good fun. But I suppose if you're marrying someone who's very good looking and very adventurous, perhaps they're going to be not having so much money. So it's all swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Definitely.
If you marry someone with lots of money, they're perhaps less likely to have another good quality. So
exactly,
you've got to sacrifice on something.
Yeah.
But giving for granted that if you marry with a rich man, giving for granted that you are able to access his money, I think is not realistic, isn't it?
No, not in 2024.
No. So well, I don't know in the past, but at the moment I don't see those things happening.
No. I mean, I think surely we all, well, I think people don't, do they? But I mean, I feel like it's really obvious now that money doesn't necessarily bring happiness. It gives you more options. It gives you the ability to make more choices in terms of, where should we go on holiday, where should we go for dinner, all these kinds of things without having to worry about money, which is a great thing. Totally get that. But at the same time, I'd much rather have the kind of person that if we didn't have money, I'm more than happy staying in with them, as opposed to going wherever I want with someone that I don't really get on particularly well with. It's just not up there for me.
I think it's more realistic to settle down with someone who's in a similar-ish category to you, or similar potential. I don't know. That's what I think most people veer towards, but perhaps that's not the case.
Yeah, because it can backfire the opposite way. If the woman has a lot more money than the man, that can sometimes be an issue.
And also the opposite. I wouldn't like to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't have a minimum. I mean, not a salary, not at all. It's like no, I want to be in the same page, more or less. I don't want you to be super rich, I'm super poor, or me super rich or you super poor, but I wouldn't like to be with a man that even doesn't have a job or a salary or...
No.
I think for me, ambition's more important than current earnings. If they've got good ambitions, and you've got good ambitions, you've got the potential to be okay in life.
Yes.
If they've got no ambitions, they perhaps might not want to work, for example.
Yeah. I think life's tough though, isn't it, for a lot of people, with the cost of living crisis, and I think people are really looking at finances in every way, so it may be that people are going, do you know what, I want a better life, and perhaps I will be going for a man with a bit more money. But I don't. On the flip side, I don't think guys are stupid either. I think they can spot a gold digger and then maybe question somebody's motives, for that. So it's an interesting one.
It is. I think I agree. I think it's easy to understand why somebody's with someone, but maybe if you're in that situation, maybe you don't. I mean, we see it here a lot, particularly older men with younger, really attractive women, and it's easy to kind of judge from the outside, thinking, why they're with each other. Maybe he has a lovely personality. There's lots of other reasons why, but people very easily judge the situation. And I've had male friends in the past who have been with a particular type of woman. And the man is the one that has had money, and they've gone with younger, attractive women who don't even speak English half the time, because they've got a nice bit of eye candy on their arm. And I'm like, but what do you talk about when you go for dinner? You don't spend the whole time in the bedroom. There's other things. I just don't get how you can be with someone that you don't really get on with, who's like your best mate, who you can do stuff with, go for dinner with, watch the same things on television, have the same discussions and opinions on life and morals and all that kind of stuff. If you haven't got, I sort of think it's so obvious that that's the most important thing.
But I suppose different people have different preferences. One of my friends said the only important thing for her is that they are quite a bit younger than her and they're attractive. And intelligent conversation is not important to her.
Really?
And she's happy to have intelligent conversation with
other people,
friends. But this person is a very intelligent person, so it's just interesting that people have different preferences. It might be that they've had intelligent men before and they want to try something a bit different. Who knows?
That's what floats your boat to me, I suppose.
Yeah. Who are we to judge?
We're all different and unique in this world.
Yes. Okay. This, I think, is... I don't even want to talk about this one. I don't like that one. I think that's very cruel. I'm standing up for the men, and I'm not even going to mention that one, because it's not very nice about men, and I think it's unnecessary. So, moving on. The Large Families Association of Madrid in Spain has launched an advertising campaign featuring the message, "Save the planet, have more children." The campaign's objective is to turn on its head the prevailing pessimism and invite more people to experience the joy that comes with a large family. On billboards and in publicity throughout Madrid, the campaign also directly challenges people to consider that a world without pollution is not worth it if there are no people to enjoy it. I think this is really bizarre.
I was having this very conversation yesterday by a person who's been living here their whole life, and they were saying it's problematic, Spanish culture in comparison to British culture, that Spanish young people aren't having as many children as they used to. And I'm surprised by that, because Spaniards love their children, their families. They're surrounded by their young ones all the time, so it surprises me that that's more of a problem in Spain versus the UK. I'm not sure.
Do we reckon again it's connected to cost of living?
Yeah, I think so. And I think perhaps getting on the property ladder, maybe the lack of jobs, it's all things that you need to have a family and bring a family up. So it's probably, you've got a certain definite factor in that.
And like what we've talked about before, Spaniards and Italian people and people in different European cultures live with their parents until a lot later than perhaps in the UK. So perhaps people are maturing a little later, or they don't have the money
to do it.
Money is a factor. I mean, they always say there's never a right time to have a baby, but at the same time, if you're struggling to pay rent and you haven't got a job and whatever, it wouldn't be a good time to bring another life into the world, would it? So I think it definitely needs to be considered. At the same time, I wouldn't be encouraged to have more children because a billboard told me to. An advertising campaign. Oh yeah, have another child. I've never thought about that. I mean, no.
Maybe it'll subconsciously affect your dreams as you get
Yes, maybe. Mary, have you noticed with people having less children, friends of yours, are people kind of more conscious of money and things like that?
It depends, because I just have two friends that have children, and one of them is a woman that has a lot of allergies. So since she got married, she said, I'm going to have children, because she's having problems to have children. So now she has two, she's happy.
Yeah.
And then another one is a friend from Granada that she's so wild and free, and is like, I'm happy, and I think she has the first now, and maybe she wants to have more. But I see around me that we are very aware that I see the way of thinking that we want to enjoy our couples and enjoy traveling and enjoy life together, and then we can give time to children, because we are very aware that that time is not coming back.
No.
And as soon as you have children, things are not the same, and maybe you don't have the same time to enjoy the couple, to travel the same way. So
I think it's really interesting in general with people, same with people in the UK having children a lot later. Generations ago it was very, very normal that people would have the children in their 20s. But that's happening less and less. I think now people having children in their 20s is seen to be quite young.
Yeah, definitely. I think post-COVID as well, people sort of were, we weren't allowed to do so much, and now people are more into travelling and living their life a little bit more, not feeling as if they can't do what they want to do. So perhaps kids are lower on the list because of that,
And I do think during COVID, for some people, there was a delay in development. You definitely notice that sometimes in schools, because they miss that sort of crucial in-person learning. I think also that's the same with young adults. So if you're sort of 18 to 25, you perhaps missed out on 1 or 2 years of partying years.
Yeah.
So you feel a little bit younger than you would have been chronologically before.
Definitely. Oh, I really felt for young people during COVID, imagining people at different stages of their schooling lives and thinking how much they were missing out on, you know, the first kisses, the first dances, all those kind of things.
Especially sort of university age, 18 to 20, I think that would have been the worst.
My son was 17 going through it. Yeah, so he's lost 2 years of his life and I'm making up for it now, but it definitely had an impact.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because I think
so hard.
Because I think they're so conscious of what they should have been doing then. You know, and they're like, well, I'm not going out, and I'm not seeing my friends, and I'm not doing this, and I'm not going to that festival, and so it's it's a lot to cope with mentally.
Absolutely. Oh dear. Well, thank you all very much for coming on today,
so much.
ladies. Lovely to see you all. Thank you to Katie, Wenda, and Mary Carmen. Thank you for your company as well. A couple of messages that we'd had in, so thank you for taking part in the show. And Howard Brereton is coming up next with Spain Today. Enjoy your weekend. I know it's only Thursday, but mine starts tomorrow. So I will be back on Monday at 4:00. And don't forget, Selena is back with you on Sunday for your Sunday selection at 11. And the book show tonight at 7:00. Some really great guests. So make sure you don't miss that as well, particularly Leslie Pierce at the start of the show talking about her incredible life.
Online, on mobile, on the TRE app, your smart speaker and on air. This is TRE, Talk Radio Europe. Your voice in Spain and around the world.
From the Sky News Centre at 5, our reports exposed the bungled investigations and failed background checks that left Sarah Everard's murderer free.